Hey, I'm clicking as fast as I can here, clicking as fast as I can. Oh, I probably put that on the machine. I didn't mean to do it. Let's remove that. Boom! That's a surprise for a little bit later on as we get ourselves together over here. And I don't know. Nope, didn't do it again. Didn't comb the hair. One day, and this is the difference, my friend. And I've spoken to a couple of folks. Actually, I spoke to a guy yesterday. He does a podcast, a true podcast. And I told him I do a vodcast. Like, what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. He doesn't have to comb his hair. I'm not even sure he has hair, but that's beside the point. He doesn't have to comb his hair. I do. And there it is. So we're over here a little bit more so. We're making it happen. Got a marathon t-shirt on. Yeah. Running t-shirt, not marathon. That kind of thing. All right, anyhow, I want to welcome everybody here. Today it is tie it all together. But no, we're not going to wear a tie. No, we're not wearing a tie-dye t-shirt. Not going to do any of that stuff. But we are going to bring the whole thing together. It's like, what in the world is going on here? How many different projects can be worked on? What is it? Where is the whole thing kind of come together? And I'm going to tell you right now. The biggest draw with so many of the things I do is the fact that I actually like living here on Long Island. Yeah, I do. So now let's take a look at Long Island 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, today, tomorrow. 100 years ago. 100 years ago, maybe even a little bit more than that. And I had this conversation with it was that was a podcast they did on Blog Talk Radio. And we were talking about transportation, New York City and Long Island and Boston, and how the whole thing was tied together. But transportation in the late 1800s and how much of a center of commerce New York City was amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was. I just saw a video about this too, about steamships and stuff like that. I think it was. About how New York City was like the trading port of obviously the country, the United States, but even more so, might have even been the world. Good afternoon, Karen. Always a pleasure saying hello to my wife on over here. I haven't seen her in hours, and we're in the same place. But I'm sorry, let's get back to this thing. But how New York City was the major port of the United States. Why? Pretty simple, really. Geographically, it just made sense. Absolutely did. You had a deep water port. And we're thinking about it from the ocean standpoint, coming in. So you're coming in through the ocean. You got Coney Island on one side, on the right, starboard side. On the left, the port side, you've got Staten Island, major breakwaters. In other words, the ocean swells are not coming through there, and it's deep, so you're not going to get crashing waves. You're only going to get that at the beach. So those waves smooth themselves out. And then it's another couple of miles as you go through New York Harbor. And I did that in a boat. Let me tell you, it's big. I mean, if you haven't taken a ride on the Staten Island Ferry, take a ride on the Staten Island Ferry. Then you really get an idea as to how big that harbor is, how big and how tall the Verrazano Bridge really is. I went underneath that in a 24-foot boat. Immense. Also ran over it. Let's go back to the running. I ran over it the other way too. It's a hill. Flat out, my friends. The New York City Marathon starts with a hill. All right. It's an East Coast hill. It's a man-made hill. It's a bridge. I get it, but it's a hill. And then going over the 59th Street Bridge, that's another hill. Absolutely. But it's a big, deep water port. So what happened then is that, the ships would come in. It's a very, very safe harbor. And they would dock all along the area in and around Manhattan. And then eventually in Brooklyn, once the ferries got going and you had steamships and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But that was why. Erie Canal, man, made New York City even more so, because the Erie Canal allowed materials to be transported by boat up the Hudson River, across from Albany, out to Buffalo, through the Great Lakes, and then beyond. Fascinating. And people, what was Long Island at the time? Well, before there was the bridges, there was the ferry that would take people back and forth from Brooklyn, but not much more than that. But if people wanted to get out to Boston, you know what they did? They left Manhattan and took the Long Island Railroad, and then they took the ferries going across and worked their way up to Boston. That was the way to do it. It was a major boom boom growth engine. I know that was terrible, but it was a major growth engine, at that point in time. Other major growth engines on Long Island, kind of had this conversation with somebody else. Yeah, I'm going to bring automotive back into it. Vanderbilt, the Vanderbilt Motor Parkway, the beginning of auto racing over here. But what about the airline industry, the aerospace industry? Unbelievable what took place over here. It was a training ground for so many things. You take a look at the Wright brothers. Obviously, wasn't over here, but the sport of aerodynamics, the flight, all the planes, the training that took place over here, just really incredible. You go to the Cradle of Aviation Museum, and you could see all the rest of that stuff. Then, of course, big growth engine for all the wrong reasons, it was, but, the military, Grumman, Republic, big time growth engines over here. Technology, any idea how much technology is actually here and how much is produced over here? Quite a lot. Manufacturers also quite a lot. That's here. These are all big time growth engines. The tourist industry on Long Island, the Hamptons, brings in so much money. So there's always these growth engines that are taking place at various decades and various periods of time to keep us moving along. So why am I interested in a drag strip and the rest of that stuff, or the vocational programs? Because we can't lose, and we've been talking about this now for the past 10 years, is the we can't I shouldn't look there. Thanks, buddy. Good seeing you again today, Kurt. Dashing Dan. Somebody's got to look that one up. Dashing Dan for the Long Island Railroad. I don't have that one. But there you go. I'll leave it up there for you, Kurt. Been a big help. But we've been talking about the brain drain for the past 10 years. I already recall that conversation. And you know what? It happens. We saw people from Europe and the Asian countries coming over here, and then they go back. The third world countries, they come here, they get the education, go back. So we lose a lot of folks that are getting trained here going back. So students here today in Long Island, locally speaking, our students here today are finding that if the only opportunities they have are not on Long Island for a wide variety of reasons, some of that has to do with jobs, some of that has to do with housing costs and the rest of that. But if we continue to lose our next generation of workers to other places because the career, housing expenses, all the rest of that stuff kind of makes more sense someplace else, where are we in 10 years? Where are we in another 10 years, 20 years, if that continues to happen? So I think that anything we could do in order to help out careers makes sense. I just found it to be a lot of fun too, tying it with this drag strip thing about that economic impact report that was put together. If it was a full-blown track and raced, I think it was 85 events over the course of the year, it adds something like $17 million to the economy. All good. Is it going to have 85 events? Probably a bit much, for over here, unless they're like, that's a lot. That just seems like a lot, in my humble opinion. But let's assume that report is just misses the mark by 50%. That's still millions of dollars here. Had a conversation with somebody else about a water park out there. You know what? They're coming up with big numbers too. So tourism, bringing people out here, keeping people out here, having a place where people want to live is a big part of the whole keeping people here. And there are so many there are so many career opportunities here that maybe, just maybe, our students just don't see. And I don't know. I'm not in school all the time. I do those career days. I, do what I can, in that respect. But maybe the students don't see. And maybe that would be the question we should be asking these students after they get done with the career days. Like, did you know that industry existed here? Did you know about those possibilities here? Did you know that the going to college is not necessarily the first step that it takes? There are other steps to take before that. high school vocational programs to go figure out what gets you excited. And yeah, we have that conversation quite a bit. It's like, why it gets you excited? Why I latch onto the drag racing out there? You want to know something? It got me excited. but it's fun. And then the other benefits come from it. And I just thought it was the automotive programs, but it's not. And even automotive is going to change so much in the next 10 years. But much, much more than that. It leads to other careers. It empowers students to explore different things, to get their hands on something and build something, to feel like they're creating something, not just taking a class. They get a chance to see what their leadership skills are or are not. Maybe they're a better follower. Maybe they're better behind the scenes. Well, there's a lot of folks behind the scenes doing a lot of hard work to make the other folks that really like being in front of the camera, that like being on stage, that like seeing their name on the side of a building look good. You're going to hear more about that too on an upcoming radio show. And I'm not the host and I'm not the guest. Two fine gentlemen are going to be on somebody else's radio program and somebody's program that you've been listening to for decades to talk about that aspect of it, the leadership. But our students, there's so many things that can be done here. And if we can continue to create those opportunities here, and they are here already, but bring awareness to those opportunities that are here, have a darn good time doing it. That's the local entertainment, even for some folks saving some money and going out and enjoying the sunshine, enjoying just being outside, fresh air, clean fresh air, always a nice little thing. Why not? I mean, it'd be crazy not to do that. There's so many things here on the island that can be done to continue to help the economy, continue to help tourism, continue to help the local economy, local businesses and stuff like that. We got to seize that moment, make the whole thing happen. And we will continue to do that. So how are we doing that? How in the world are we doing it? All right, Kurt, I'm going to give you this one. I'm going to put it up here and read it along with everybody, and then we'll see if we can answer that one. So he says, the problem now is people want to do less for more money, a completely different generation these days, and an economy that's being taught that you can make more doing nothing by staying at home and living off of the government, which is what made getting employees hard for small business owners. All right, Kurt. So we need to change that. All right, let's get rid of that. We need to change that. So how do you do that? In my humble opinion, and we'll put the motivational side of me on this one. How do you do that? Well, you know what? If the only thing we're doing is going to work and earning a paycheck and paying our bills and doing all the rest of that stuff, it's who cares, right? Maybe then you are right in that respect. Who cares? Who cares? Is that what motivates somebody? Just to collect a paycheck? I don't think so. I don't think so. We've lost the idea of working at businesses and those companies, taking care of us forever and ever and the rest of that stuff. That's not happening. That's not happening either. So why do we work? Kurt, it's a good question there. Why do we work? Why do we go someplace and do something? Because we want to be rewarded. We want to feel like we're part of something. And Karen will attest to it. I just had this conversation earlier. Why? These dragster folks, right? The needs a dragster. Blah, 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 blah. It's just kind of great to be part of something that's growing and building. And I'm going to tell you honestly, and to be appreciated. And we've all worked in different places. You're not appreciated, just a cog in the wheel. Like, really? So what happens when all of a sudden you get that phone call out of the blue from someplace that's like, hey, why don't you come with us? You're like, I'm listening. Because you're not appreciated someplace. So you know what, Kurt, a lot of it has to do with companies really, truly appreciating their employees in a better way. And they don't. Maybe the HR people were starting to see some posts about that thing. They're not just doing all the benefit paperwork and all the rest of that stuff, but a little bit more on that employee engagement. And I know it's become a little bit more challenging to do the employee engagement side of things now because you know what? We're spread out. Some of us are lucky enough to work from home on that side. What is the company doing in order to make sure that it really feels like they're part of something, accomplishing something? Man, that's leadership. That's true leadership. If our students today really learn what leadership is, those businesses are going to be unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, you're going to hear this when those other two guys get on that radio show. You'll hear all about that. Why are they successful? Because they understand leadership. Why are their employees and their fellow coworkers, their team members, so engaged in their success and the success of the quote unquote boss? Because they all understand it's a team. That's it. And that's what needs to be instilled. It's not just a matter of taking a test and, oh, let's see, hey, I beat the rest of the class. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be the whole class did well. Why? Because we all supported each other and did that. Is that a little simplistic? Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. But if it's just about the grade, not about helping anybody out, not about mentoring anybody, not about some teamwork in there, and that gets lost in the shuffle, perhaps that's what's getting lost in the shuffle through schools. And that's a shame. Then maybe it is just easy getting a check from someplace else and doing that. I don't see that. You don't see that. And I know many of the folks I chat with don't see that. Maybe it is a generational thing. So that has to be fixed. And I'm going to go back to where I started this whole thing about how to fix that. And that is by showing them not what jobs are available, but talking about what's possible, really uncovering inside of them what it is that they really love to do. Then they're going to be totally engaged because they're engaged for their own success, not just for the success of the business. But they are going to be, I just saw your note over there, Kurt. I'll bring that up too. But they are going to be engaged because of the success of them, and the success of the business is now a reflection of the success of them. And then everybody grows. And that is really where it's at. So that's the message that needs to get out there. All right, Kurt, let's go put this up. Where are we at? Hold on. I'm buttoning away over here. Great. Maybe I should just figure out how to make this a live stream of your quotes here, my friend. You're becoming a cheerleader. Oh, I paused. I'm sorry, I paused. I'm trying to pause a little bit every once in a while. And there we go. All right, here we go. This was the quote. This is the comment I want to put up there. You were saying what I preach within my business, teamwork, leadership, growth, and it's what I learned from his years as a registered nurse. I didn't know you're a registered nurse, man. So you really get the whole aspect, of the team over there. That's a different shift in careers. That's a question that'll come up. Got to get you on here as a guest in that. But that's it. And those other two guys, that's it. That's really it. That it is what it is. And I can tell I've so worked at different places, where that is the case. And I could see that with the drag strip folks. They've been working on this project now for 10 years, and probably even more, to get this thing done. Even the supervisor, the Riverhead supervisor, I think she goes back 10 years on this thing. Or some amount of time. Don't quote me because I don't know the exact numbers. But that's it. So why is that idea of banging their head against the wall something they still continue with? It's called perseverance. But why are they doing that? Because they so believe in it. And it's they believe in it. Not a person believes in it. They believe in it. And they're working off of each other to make the thing work. And then here we are, year 2. I got a drag strip. Maybe year 3, permanent drag strip? I don't know. I don't really know. All right, so let's get back to this thing. Ooh, that was 20 minutes. Yeah, that's all good. All right, so what's coming up? What is coming up? And I kind of hit on this a little bit yesterday with some various events that are coming up. So that's part of it. But I want to stay real specific here on the vocational side of things and how I'm kind of tying this thing together a little bit more so with my efforts and how to really make the whole thing work. All right. And that is through, I am a board member, not a board, B-O-R-R-E-A-D, B-O-R-E-D, board, B-O-A-R-D, board member. That's right. Yep. I've got a vested interest in the success of this one. That's another one. It's taking the time to get the thing going. But of the ECNY Foundation. ECNY Corporation is run by Maria Fry. That's Executive Consultants of New York. She helps people find careers, not just jobs, but careers. And she does that individually, ECNY Corporation, and then also with the, with the conjunction between the two of them, the ECNY Foundation. My effort is purely with the ECNY Foundation. It's all that volunteer activity. She has also been doing these job search boot camps, and she's got a couple of them that she does throughout the year. There is one coming up, and that is through the Port Washington Library. I think I have it over here someplace. Yeah, I do. Let's go back to sharing that one. Let's go back to stop that share the screen. I'll do that. That is at the Port Washington Library, or through the Port Washington Library. And there we go. That's through the Port Washington Library, and it's all online. Now, they're obviously favoring people in Port Washington and also that are in the town of Hempstead. On this one, should it's sponsored by the town of Hempstead. That would make sense. But it is open, if not filled locally, it is open to everybody. It's a job search boot camp. Boot camp. She calls it a boot camp for a reason, because she only wants people there that are engaged in the process, that are for real, really want to know how to do this stuff, really want to put the time, energy, and effort into it. Again, that teamwork kind of thing. She does. I mean, this is everything from reviewing that LinkedIn profile, how to use groups, how to join groups, ask questions, stuff like that. Get to the decision makers, not just to the employment people, but get to the decision makers at these companies, and really understand what the companies are after, things like that. The resume writing. And my favorite part, of course, is the mock interview night. Yes, get a chance to go down there and tell them, show them, speak with them, interview them about what it is they're trying to do, how to get the stories out of them, because it's all about storytelling. Even when you're doing an interview, tell me about your greatest success. Tell me about your greatest challenge. Tell me about your greatest challenge, and you will actually learn something from it. Or your greatest success. How'd that work, Kurt? I know you're going to say it was through teamwork, and I didn't even look down on that one, but it is. So that's starting May 2nd, which is right around the corner. May 2nd. It's full commitment. You missed the first meeting. You say you're going to go, and you miss the first meeting, you're out. Means you're not committed on the whole thing. Got an unbelievable success rate with that one. So that stuff is coming up. And then there's going to be a few more. She does it with Stony Brook, and et cetera. So great stuff on that one. All right, so let's drop that screen share, because I definitely want to get into this one a little bit more. So share screen, Chrome tab, and here, Career Map LI. All right, so here we go. This is the ECNY Foundation, my friends. So the website here is Career Map LI, and this is where I'm going to ask you to help me out here too. Help us out, because April 27th, which is next week, April 27th at Sachem North High School, there's a career day. And what we want to do is exactly what I'm talking about over here. If we want to be able to show those students what careers are available to them here, right here, but speak to them in the standpoint of what your personality was back in high school, or why, or what personality you need, leadership skills you need or don't need, creativeness you need or don't need in the current career that you're at, or any industry that they may want to follow, and let them. And it's the best part, because if you tell it as a story, they get to see themselves in that story, if that is the correct industry and path for them to go in. If they can't see themselves in your story, then you know what? They're not meant for your industry. That's fine. This is not a matter of convincing them, oh, you should be this, or oh, you should be that, or oh, you should go to school, or you should not go to school, or this trade is better than that trade, or anything like that. This is actually an opportunity for you to give the students something to think about, and to think about them, what drives them, what really gets them excited, where it is their natural talents are, and can those natural talents, can that excitement fit in someplace? And if it does, they become an engaged employee. They become a great employee for you. Someday, maybe they become a great employer for other people, and they all understand the value of teamwork along the way. So you get to be the motivational speaker. All right, so here we have, let's go to here. I want to bring this down. 20 plus industries. These are the industries we'd love to fill. And I got to tell you a long-term thing. We're going to fill these industries with videos. Oh, you think that's impossible? I don't think so. I know somebody who likes doing videos and have just some great friends, but studios could do informal, all kinds of different things. But anyhow, so these are the different industries looking to highlight, and these are all here on Long Island. Agriculture, architecture, so much going on there. Art, AV, technology, communications. Boy, oh boy, does that all fit together. Uh, Automotive and aviation, and I did not steer her that way. They put that together, not me. Automotive and aviation, business management, administration, right? Cosmetology. You got all those video places. Let me tell you, there's a lot going on with cosmetology. Education and training. Yeah, my gosh, even doing webinars. What an industry that is. Energy and green energy. Did you hear they're putting a wind farm out in the ocean? Yeah, it's a lot of people getting involved in that one. And a lot of training that's going to start there too. Speak to PSE&G. They were at the last career day. Finance, of course. Government and Civil Service Administration. Absolutely. Healthcare. Hospitality and tourism. I won't tie that one in again. Human services. I'm not really sure what that one is. Human services, information technology, law, public safety, corrections, and security. That's a mouthful. And that is wild how big of a span that is. There is a huge difference between being a police officer and working for the sheriff's department. I really didn't know that. Not until recently, where I really got a chance to understand the difference there. The corrections officer, the ones who are working inside the prisons, daily interaction with the folks that have been locked up. Daily. Police, not a daily interaction there, but a daily interaction with the people out on the street. Much more on that one as we continue on. Much more on that. So, I mean, these are all different categories I would love to see filled, as that goes. And that is careermapli.org. There we go. careermapli.org for that one. How does all this stuff fit together? It's pretty darn easy. Because the more our students see their own capabilities, the more excited they are about their future, then the more they're going to look at the businesses that are here. The more they enjoy the stuff that's taking place around here. Boating, drag racing, golfing, you name it. Outdoor sports, indoor sports, whatever it might be. But the sports, the baseball, the soccer. Oh, there's so many different programs out over here. The colleges, they see the potential with these colleges that are here. Many colleges. They become the growth engine. Much more important that they become the growth engine than the locomotive industry was back in the day, the ports were back in the day, as the military was for wartime purposes back in the day. There are so many industries changing unbelievably quickly as to what it is. I can't imagine somebody who's in 10th grade today, by the time they graduate, seeing an industry that looks the same. I mean, automotive industry changing quickly, really quickly. Aviation, quickly, really quickly. Drones, new. Everything changing so fast. But the one thing that'll remain constant throughout their careers is them. And the sooner they figure out who they are as a person, what their potential is, what they really want to do, or who they really are. Maybe not what they want to do, but who they really are. I think that's going to impact so many things. Give them a lot of confidence, maybe give them a little bit more direction, give them a little clearer guidance as to who they should be friends with, who not, help them out on their networking, maybe even clean up some of the social media posts. This way it's more in line with who they are and what they're trying to accomplish, the longer term goals. Because look, living day to day is one thing. Living for a long-term goal, totally different. You can help these students do that. It's easy. Join us on April 27th. Help out with the Career Map LI. Go to the HIA trade show May 26th. A lot of these folks are going to be there. A lot of people looking for jobs. This is going to be job search, job fair portion of that, with the manufacturing group. So many things. Hey, you might even go out to a drag strip too. Potential is there. Catalyst could be you. Think about that. All right, my friends. Speak well, speak often, live inspired.